Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sharielle if you're new, and if you're returning, thank you for coming back. So as you see in the title, today I'm going to talk about when you should block, unfollow, or mute somebody on social media. And we'll get into this after my intro. I felt the need to do this because social media is obviously ingrained in our society and it's a big part of our lives, whether we like it or not. And I wanted to give almost guidelines that I use on how you should navigate whether you should block, unfollow, or mute somebody. So the first one we'll touch on, I personally consider a third-degree offense, and that's when you have to mute somebody, or on Facebook when you have to hide them for 30 days. So you're basically putting them on a virtual timeout. So basically my percentage on this of when you should mute somebody, about 33% to 50% of what they post gives you a feeling that you should mute them, maybe because they overshare, they overpost, or they're posting something you truly don't want to see. So an instance where I muted this girl I followed, she was into quote unquote body positivity and she just kept posting herself almost completely nude. And I just was fed up. So I was like, I'm gonna have to mute you because I don't want to see that. And this can go for your aunt that likes to overshare about your cousins a little too much. This can go for coworkers. You don't dislike these people and they're not bad people. But what they're posting, it just irritates you a little bit or it bothers you a little bit. And another instance was this girl was kind of going through a rough patch in her life, but she was kind of oversharing about it a little too much. And every time I'll click on her page, she brought me down. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I was either status or I'm on her story, she was either complaining or she just was unhappy. And I just didn't want to see it anymore. Every time if I look at your stuff, you're negative. And I like this girl, like I said, she was creative. She's a cool person, but she's kind of using social media as a diary. And I feel like you should physically write it in a journal versus show us. So I had to mute her, for instance. I didn't want to unfollow her because like I said, I like her, but I had to mute her. And another instance, I had to mute somebody, just to give you an example, is this other person. Every time they would get an award or something, or every little thing they were doing in general, they would post it. And I like this person, but once again, it's oversharing and overposting. Every time I'm on my phone, I'm seeing you, and it's just a little too much. So I had to mute them as well. And that's exactly why I would call it a third-degree offense, because it's not like you want to completely erase these people from your life or your social media. You just need a break from them. So with muting, it doesn't have to be permanent, because sometimes low-key people notice when you don't look at their stuff anymore, or it may be somebody you see in real life. It could be a coworker and they're like, oh, did you see that thing I posted? And it can only be so long before they notice that you didn't see it, or every single time, and they may think you unfollowed them or something. So you can just give yourself a little break, maybe a 10-day increment or 15-day increment of muting somebody to take a break from them, because it's just good for your mental health. So now let's touch on the second-degree offense, which is when you need to unfollow somebody. This can be a little touchy because people really take follows very personal, and I don't know why, because if we're cool in real life, why do you care if I follow you? Like, maybe I just don't want to see all of your life. I just want to know about it when we speak or when I see you. And I find it weird too, because sometimes people who follow you will see you in public and not say hi to you, but then they'll get mad if you unfollow them and tell their friends about it. So that's just weird in general. But let's get into when you should unfollow somebody. Like I said, it's a second-degree offense, which is more severe. And my percentage on this is about 66% of what this person posts is something you don't want to see. Whether it irritates you or it brings you down because it's negative, it's something that's constant that they post that you just don't want to see. And you can't avoid it unless you unfollow them. This may offend people, but I truly don't care. I feel like a lot of people are social media activists, so they'll post about world news, different tragedies, and other issues all the time, and they'll put the hashtags, they'll put up the posts that have been shared by everybody, but they actually don't do anything in real life, And when people are social media activists, I usually unfollow them because it makes things too heavy. And when I'm on social media, I don't want to see heavy things, especially all the time, because it does bring you down and it can make you anxious and it can make you depressed over time because you keep seeing issues and problems around the world, and it's because you follow a social media activist. So I'm gonna have to unfollow you. Like, fight the power, but I'm all set. Another reason I've personally unfollowed somebody was because they were too raunchy. I'm not a nun, but if every time I look at your story, you're basically completely undressed and advertising your only you know what, I just don't want to see that. I'm not going to judge people. It's just I personally don't want to see it. Another reason to unfollow somebody is if they're always in drama. We know those people that are like, if you have a problem with this, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why people are always worried about me. Those type of people that are always in drama, always subbing people. I don't want to see that. I'm too old for it. And I feel like even me just seeing it, I'm a part of the drama. And I just don't want to see it. I don't want to know who you're talking about, and I don't want to know the situation. It's just unnecessary. So that's a big reason to unfollow somebody. A big reason to unfollow somebody is if they're always negative. It's exhausting to see. It's like, are you ever happy? Why do you have to share your misery with us on your timeline, or on your story, on your TikTok, whatever? Get a therapist, get a life coach, journal, something, pray to God. You know what I mean? Like, that energy transfers through the screen just by me reading it, and I don't like it. I just don't like seeing negative things, especially all the time. So I have to unfollow you. I just do. Another personal reason I would unfollow somebody is if they're overly obsessed with a celebrity. This culture is very obsessed with public figures, influencers, celebrities, athletes, etc. It's not healthy, and I feel like those people are often delusional, and they literally live their lives trying to act like they're a celebrity. They're the celebrity dating standards, the trips, all the other stuff. It's like, and then they act like they know the celebrity, which is a parasocial relationship. I feel like it's kind of childish to be obsessed with somebody if you're not a preteen. It makes sense if you're 12, you know, the Beliebers, you know, but to be a full-blown adult that pays bills and you're obsessed with celebrities, it's a little weird and it's sad, in my opinion. I'm sorry. And then on top of that, they're always sharing the celebrity news about that person. I just don't care. Another reason I'd say to unfollow somebody is if they're flashy. I personally get annoyed with that because it's like, who are you trying to prove a point to? And a lot of people do this. A lot of people are trying to show off to the world or whoever to prove that they're successful or they're doing well or they don't need anybody, they got money, all this other just dumb stuff. And people that are always flashing their lifestyle, flashing their money, flashing the cars, flashing where they're going, I'm probably not going to follow you, because it's not that I'm hating, it's just I don't like when people do stuff for social media because I can tell you're trying to show off, and I feel like there's a deeper issue that you should address. So I personally don't like following flashy people. And also, when you follow flashy people, you naturally compare yourself to them, your lifestyle, what you're doing. And it doesn't even have to be flashy as in they're successful or have money, but they're flashy with people sometimes brag about how many degrees they have, or they brag about a promotion, or that they bought a house. It's good to accomplish things, but to show it all the time, it's just giving that you have a void. And I don't know what happened in your childhood or whatever, but it's a deeper issue you should fix. And my last point of when you should unfollow somebody is when you left a lifestyle or a habit and you want to stay away from it, and you follow people that still are in that lifestyle or have that habit. For instance, say you want to stop drinking because it's become a problem, but you follow people that like to go out a lot and you're seeing them take shots, pour liquor in their mouth in the club, doing whatever. That's going to entice you, and it could influence you to go back into that lifestyle, and you know you need to stay strong. So if you're trying to stay away from something, don't follow people that do that something, because you could go back to who you used to be. And now to the first degree offense, which is when you need to block somebody. And with this pie chart, it's 100%. Whatever they did, I 100% need you to go away. I 100% don't like what you're posting. You're 100% bothering me. And with blocking somebody, it's really tough because you have to do it wisely. I feel like you need wisdom with blocking people because often I'm seeing people be emotional and overreact and then block somebody. It's like when you block somebody, you really need to have a clear mind about it because you don't want to use the block button to be petty. It needs to be permanent. And why I say this is because some people block friends when they're mad at them. Some people block their significant other on social media when they're mad at them. And I feel like it's super disrespectful, especially because you know you're going to talk to them again. You know this is a conflict you need to resolve. And when you block somebody, not only are you disrespecting them, but you're avoiding the true problem, and blocking doesn't solve that. And honestly, I feel like blocking somebody should be the last resort and not the first. When I feel you should block somebody is when they're extremely disrespectful, extremely negative. You don't need them in your life anyway. Don't block somebody you need because you can't take that back. So if you don't need this person at all, definitely you can block them. You should block somebody if they're definitely affecting your mental health through social media and if they're threatening you. Personally, I've blocked former friends, and I don't do it often, but it's just some people need to stay out your life. They don't need to see what you're doing, and that's why I block them. It's not being petty or I'm mad at them or bitter. I really wish them the best, but they don't need to be in contact with me. And when it comes to blocking somebody, I would really give heavy thought to it. If it's a parent or a sibling, a coworker or your boss, or your child's father or mother. These are really touchy people to block because it could be a big mistake and it could really escalate to something that you don't want it to be in real life. So before you block any of those people, I feel you should really think about it, especially for like a coworker or boss. You can definitely mute them, but like for your close family and someone you had a child with, you really got to think about it. And honestly, you can also hide your posts from people. So you can do that instead of blocking people like that. But in other instances, I feel like easily you can block an associate, a former friend, a stranger on the internet who's yapping, block their butts. I've done that before. A failed love interest or an ex. A failed love interest because they could be, people get obsessed with you sometimes and they don't need to see you. So you need to block them. And for the ex, for instance, if your relationship with your ex was not healthy, you probably should block them. But other instances where the ex wasn't too bad, you should unfollow them. But there's definitely no reason to have them on social media if you're truly trying to move on, because you leave the door open if you guys still follow each other. But if it was unhealthy, definitely block them. They don't need to see you. And if you have a toxic family member or just somebody that's negative, blood don't mean anything if they're a detriment to your life, okay? Block them. And like I said, never use the block button to be petty. It should be a permanent thing. When I've blocked people, I truly am going to keep you blocked. As long as I have that account, you're blocked on it. Unless Jesus himself tells me to unblock you and, figure things out. I really feel like blocking people gives you peace of mind. It disconnects them from what you're doing. And the funny thing is, if they make another account to follow you, it shows how desperate they are. And I've had that done. But it's like, all right, well, I'm just going to keep blocking you, But blocking definitely can give you peace of mind, cut off distractions, and just keep negativity away from you. So you should definitely use that. So I hope this video was helpful. And if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from me, definitely subscribe to my channel and share this with your friends. Thank you for watching my video. You are appreciated.